bit more about what Sana is doing for the marketplace. And obviously, as we're all here, we're in the right spot, hopefully. We'll talk today primarily about e-commerce and craft brewing. As an organization, we've focused for the past 10 years on helping companies realize their full potential, right? We're here to help businesses grow and scale as an organization through technology. And in this case, one of the big buzzwords in the industry, utilizing a single stack approach to that. So I'll be taking us through that, and as Kayla Jo mentioned, I work with many different customers in the brewery space in particular to deliver them web stores, integration, and allow them to grow and scale through technology, which is what we'll really focus the core of the presentation on today. Though we'll begin by talking about the changing landscape in the marketplace, right? As we know, the world's evolving today. It's becoming more and more digital. We hear and see a lot of posts about the digital transformation, what that means to us. And it's not just the traditional e-commerce market. We see the trends from e-commerce, more retail commerce, trickling down into the B2B marketplace. So as craft brewers, you know, what opportunity, what doors is that opening up for us? I think there's a lot of misconception about what can and can't be done and what companies are doing out there to become more successful in that space and take advantage of the technology that they may have in place already today. So as we transition and talking about that opportunity a little bit, we'll talk more about single stack commerce, how it will help your organization and scale and really expand your market presence and your brand and get into different channels. And then we'll kind of conclude by talking a little bit more about Microsoft Dynamics and how it really can resonate as the heart of all your data and your information and allow your organization to expand efficiently, right? It doesn't mean that we need to bring on more bodies and more resources as we expand our market presence and start distributing to more and more spaces across the country, across the globe, but we could really utilize and harness the power of our ERP to make it easier for our organization to grow and more affordable. So again, we'll start by talking a little bit more about the changing landscape in B2B commerce as a whole. And I think that's important to understand because it's a complex, crowded market, right? You obviously see more and more brewers coming to the market, especially over the past 5 years. It's exploded, right? And now more than ever, a lot of these professional buyers out there who we might be working with, trying to get our products out to, are really demanding a very clean, simple experience, right? They want to interact with your organization. And it's not necessarily just about, you know, how your price might vary from your competitor, but it is what's unique about your company, what's unique about your brand. You could have a great brand, a great beer, right, that we've come to market with, but dealing with your company is a pain, right? And so how as an organization do we empower ourselves to be able to deliver that rich customer service experience to these buyers, right? Whether it is just the general public we want to try to reach out to, or it's more of the mom and pop dealers and distributors who are going to be acquiring the beer from us, right? And as we look at that, we look at organizations across the industry, and some notes here from Forrester, just kind of talking about the fact that when most people think e-commerce, they think retail. Well, as you look at a lot of the documentation behind that, it's not people necessarily delivering retail platforms, it's delivering robust B2B platforms, empowering, getting good content, good information, accurate availability and data out to wholesalers, right, and ensuring that they have the information they need to work with our organization and deliver a successful partnership in the end back out to our wholesalers that we're working with each and every day. And I think where a lot of businesses struggle is the fact that they take a very, I would say, traditional approach, maybe more of a first-generation e-commerce approach, which was, you know, I did in the ERP, you know, I'm setting up and really tracking the life cycle of the beer and how it's made through our organization, and then I get to the distribution point. And to the point where I need to get my product out to a client, many organizations choose the route of, hey, let's try to find some shopping cart, right, that will allow my customers to log in and place orders with us to automate that process. And that disparate database really approach of, hey, bringing in a whole separate system what doesn't know what's going on inside of our ERP is a large struggle for organizations, and we've seen that struggle over the past 10 years continue. And the fact that most ERPs don't offer, you know, an integration like that out through a portal is where many clients run into that challenge. You know, what do I do, right? I bought and invested in an ERP, and now I want to go online or expand my channel presence, and I don't have many options, right? So I turn to the major shopping carts in the industry that I hear about, you know, every day. And I think what that limits our organizations from doing is really running more efficiently, right? That business data, that unique customer pricing, that unique terms, the unique delivery schedules that I might need in working with these customers is very hard to set up, manage, and maintain when we don't have systems that talk to one another. And when I say don't talk to one another, there's ways to develop custom integrations, right, or synchronizations between systems, but it's more critical, I think, now than ever that we ensure delivery, right? When I order from you, I know that you're going to be able to fulfill, even if it's a limited batch brew that I'm ordering from you. I know I might be getting some of the last that you have available, but the fact that that website or application that I'm working with you on shows accurate availability. And that's something, when you bring in two systems, we'll never be able to really show if that availability is being tracked back in our ERP. So as I mentioned that, again, most mid-market organizations, they don't want the hassle of trying to integrate, right, those systems, develop some type of synchronization. It slows your organization down, and it also really limits your upgrade path as you implement an ERP in particular. So we see more companies, coming to organizations like Sana who have developed an application that works from data in your ERP, but it's already pre-built and ready to go. And it delivers that single stack approach where, as you look at the stat here, over half the organizations in the marketplace today are ripping and replacing these custom websites that they built, trying to pull that core data from their ERP and really drive the customer experience online to optimize the customer experience. And again, they want something that works as a whole. It might even be willing to compromise a little bit in functionality in some cases to get the simplified maintenance and upgradability to make your company more agile as a result. So we take a look at, well, why is this happening? What's the driving force behind this, Giuseppe? Why are businesses doing this and ripping replaces? It's because organizations recognize that there's a change in the customer demand in the marketplace. It's not about the lowest cost anymore, but it is about optimizing that customer service experience and really being able to just provide better service versus the next brewer, right? Ensuring that my clients are always going to have what they order from us in a reliable time frame. So I think that opens up a lot of opportunity for craft brewers in particular in the marketplace. As we look at the food and beverage industry as a whole, really lagging behind in the e-commerce world. But as we all know, and we've kind of seen the transition in the retail space continue to grow, I think even in the wholesale side, we see that it's starting to slowly trend up, right? More people are being accustomed to the fact that, yes, we can buy food or beverages online, and the technology is starting to be put into place that would allow people to purchase groceries or beverages from a portal, right? And so that lag behind in developing in e-commerce is slowly starting to see an uptick, which is why we've seen such a low percentage of that really occurring online over the previous years. And as we take a look at a recent survey from Nielsen, they found that only 1/4 of the global respondents that they surveyed stated that they've already found groceries online for home delivery, though 55% of them were willing to purchase their groceries online in the future. So I think that's kind of an astounding stat, is that so few people are doing this now, but the guys are really open to doing it, right? They see that as a great service. And so I think that opens up, again, extreme potential if we're the guys who are able to get out there and get ahead of the game and start offering our services or our product online. If you build it, inevitably they will come, and 55% today say they're ready to come. So as we say that, I take a look at, your competitors out in the marketplace, the other organizations in the marketplace, these artisanal breweries here, which accounts for about 4,200 right now. And as we look at craft beer in particular, accounting for about 12% of the total annual beer sales, it's continuing to grow in popularity, right? With the combination of flavorful beer and e-commerce, I think there's, a really strong match there to be made for companies as they implement a portal, right? To make it easier for more mom and pops to buy this and distribute this and spread the word, spread the brand in many different markets. And I think that's where ERP can lend a hand to ensure that we get out and really increase the face or the number of people that are taking a look at our product or our service and opening up the doors for that expansion or growth in the company. But, with that said, not only there are opportunities, I recognize that there's also challenges, right? And in many three-tier distribution systems, right, that prevents many breweries from selling direct to consumers, right? Not only that, but there's age validation challenges in the retail space, or just selling through a third party that can also be challenging to a growing craft brewer organization. And even juggernauts like Amazon Fresh, as they've looked to go out into the marketplace and sell out different products offerings in the food and beverage space, there's other ways to get out there and sell your products and services versus just doing it yourself. Instacart also started doing this inside of Washington and found themselves like in a scenario where they weren't able to necessarily provide the drinks of choice into the grocery stores that they wanted to, due to the fact that there was too many regulatory issues. So I recognize the fact that there's challenges out there, though. As many of us might see challenges, there's also organizations who have found their way around some of these challenges in the marketplace, with the big guys coming in and trying to sell products and services. But organizations like Drizzly here, which is better known as kind of the Uber of liquor, have found a way around that. They've gone and put in place really technology that would allow alcohol delivery to many startups, and they've actually gone out in the marketplace in New York in particular, right, and had it approved without needing a liquor license. So in this case, Drizzly charges the liquor and the wine stores a monthly fee to use the order fulfillment software that they have in place, as well as any iPad or iPhones that might be used for order entry purposes. They require a minimum purchase and add a delivery charge, but they don't in the end up marking up the price of the alcohol beverages themselves. It's more done by the owners. So taking our product to market can be accomplished by more than just us sending that product out there. There's service providers like that who have utilized technology and information to get the products out to the customers. And these guys don't just go and work with anybody, right? They don't work with partners like Costco or Bevmo, right? They're going into more of like a franchisee type model where we're able to come out here and license this software technology to allow us or them as an organization to distribute, the wine and spirits. So I think there's, challenges obviously as a whole, as many of us know, in the food and beverage industry when it comes to perishable goods, the inventory and distribution of the products, recurring orders, or even packing. So there's many different areas here that can be optimized back office with our ERP that require involvement or education, or just better collaboration as an organization. And I think as we look at all four of these pillars in particular that really make or break us as an organization, once we've structured them in place, a lot of this is then critical when it rolls over to e-commerce, right? How do I then take this rich data and get that out there? So, how do we prepare for the future? I hear a lot of people who typically call us up, what are we doing? How can we get to the next level? So as I try to encourage people to prep for future growth and really take the ERP as the heart of the data that we want to take out to any marketplace or any channel as we grow as a business, because with single stack commerce in place, we will have an engine, right, being our ERP, to distribute accurate data and information out and capture some of that, 12 trillion or so volume of revenue that they anticipate will be B2B e-commerce by 2020, right? Everybody would love to even have a small percentage of a $12 trillion industry as we look at B2B commerce as a whole, and find a better way to, again, service our customers and keep them satisfied. And as we take a look at the kind of the marketplace data behind this, again, some of the many drivers of growth behind this is better blocking and tackling some of the web-based merchants and omni-channel efforts that we've seen put in place in the industry. As we look at the U.S. economy improving and more growth, from marketplaces like Amazon, Forrester estimates that Amazon actually captures about $23 billion more in U.S. e-commerce sales in 2015, which accounted for about 60% of the total online retail sales growth in the U.S. So some of the big guys are obviously eating up a lot of this, which is why, many organizations are jumping on, trying to take a piece of that back, right? They haven't invested in technology, but they recognize that the opportunity is there, and the guys who are early to the game are getting a larger piece of the pie. So how do we get there as an organization? And one of the big challenges for organizations still to this day is smartphone usage. Smartphone usage continues to grow at a rapid pace here, and we look at 2017 here, noting they anticipate $75 billion in revenue accounting for almost 50% of all mobile commerce, just coming from smartphone, right? For a while, tablet became very popular after the desktop, but now mobile phones continuing to climb with the introduction a few years back of responsive web design and applications that deliver a responsive experience across any device. Customers now see that simplified use and clean experience in working with many organizations that have invested in this type of technology and are reaping the benefits as that number continues to climb quickly. And as we talk about the numbers, it's important to understand, the two markets, right? In the retail market, we hear, I think, very often about. We don't necessarily hear how well the B2B market is doing, though. But if we take a look at a very steady 10% year-over-year growth in B2B commerce, and we're not talking small numbers here. This is in billions, still accounting for over 2x the size of the retail market in the B2B industry. And as we say that, keep in mind only 1 in 4, right, distributors have an e-commerce portal in place. So as you look at your competitors in the industry, if I said, only 25% of them have a portal in place, what does that mean for us as this market continues to grow and more people flock to buying online, flock to wanting to order or check availability or check price right from a mobile phone? What tool, what utility do we have in place to ensure that we retain those clients and we look like a friendly to work with organization? And it's because, I don't think that's necessarily an option we have anymore, a luxury we have anymore, not to put in place tools or technology, right? Because we see the generation picky, right, which is most online users as they look at the customer base today. These guys are demanding simplified ways to order from us. And as you profile executives running operations and organizations today, now almost 90% of them believe that improving customer experience will increase their competitive advantage. I think personally it should be a little bit higher, in particular, but we discuss booming smartphone sales. We talk about the transition from retail brick and mortar to click and mortar strategies organizations are putting in place. People recognize that we need to ensure data integrity and accuracy, and that's what you see in reports coming out from Forrester or Deloitte. That is an organization we need to prep, and we need to start investing in this to ensure that we can grow and advance and keep up with the market. Not only get ahead, but just keep up, because this is becoming a day-to-day reality. And it's becoming more of a reality, again, because of customer experience overtaking price and product as the key brand differentiator. So yes, you have a great brew, right? But, if it comes down to it and you guys are hard to work with and never fulfilling our orders, right, we're going to be forced to work with a different supplier. And yeah, your guys' stuff will still sell, but what does that do for the brand name? What does that do for the experience in the end when we're hard to work with as an organization? So I think that's definitely one of the challenge and benefits you see here as organizations rush to get structured to support this demand in the marketplace that is right around the corner. And some argue is really already here today. So as we look at increasing our web presence, most people have, web portals or presence into the marketplace, but the ability to allow our distributors online, right, these buyers of ours to get online, it's not just about capturing an order or increasing your web presence. It's also ensuring that they have access to data or information, right? I can show new brews, new blends, pre-sales of product that I might have coming to the market, have promotional banner, content, stickers, whatever it might be as we want a supplemental sell into these stores or locations or buyers of ours. The internet is able to do, right? And it does on top of capturing the order and allowing us to fulfill and deliver these orders faster. It allows us to showcase our entire product catalog above and beyond really everything even on the brewing side that we might want to be selling in to our customer base. And these guys, again, are already open to buying. It's not that they want to have to deal with the same rep that's placing their order. These guys want the simplicity and want the flexibility of doing this from a portal. And even if there might be those of your clients that are working in buying in bulk, right? They're doing more EDI transactional volume or data with you guys. Many of them are looking for one-off orders, and we can streamline that process as well by supplementing, an EDI experience by having a web store to handle those one-off orders that might need to be turned around quickly versus waiting for a rep to be contacted, the order to be keyed in, and not having availability in the end anyhow once it gets back to the ERP and is actually being fulfilled. or entered. So other ways to really tackle the channel and ensure that, again, optimal customer experience. And again, as I mentioned, that experience isn't really linear, right? There's many ways for businesses today to interact with your organization, to talk about your organization, to have a voice about your organization. So not only do we have to worry about the integrity of the product we're delivering, but also the experience with us that is either making or breaking a lot of organizations in the industry today. And we talk about that in particular, some stats. 40% say they struggle to share data from multiple vendors to their customers, right? So if we have a challenge as an organization, getting that information out to our customers is critical and hard to do. And oftentimes something we can resolve by having a portal that these guys are logging into weekly and having a message there for them to see and read upon logging into a portal. And with the upshift in customer expectations, more B2B organizations today are shifting toward a rich omni-channel experience, right? Providing a more comprehensive experience inside to ensure customer loyalty. And I think that's definitely something in the brewery industry that is well known, right? We do have a lot of loyal clients out there. They're usually trying different things, but the fact that we're always ensuring that our products are up to par and they're able to deliver them keeps these guys who are buying from us coming back to us versus bringing in something else that I've heard about and taking up that ever so precious shelf space. So one of the other things that I think single stack e-commerce really delivers back is it ensures growth potential, right? It offers a quick ROI because it's reusing and repurposing that rich business logic and data that you've already set up and managed. SADA doesn't propose you come in and set up another database and employ new users to manage more data or new data or repurpose data. It's taking the data that you're already managing and it's showing it right out to your clients. Ensuring that these buyers experience, an optimal session with you guys upon working with you, and it builds that loyalty. It also brings back more companies as more organizations today believe that their customers' expectations have changed due to B2C practices, right? We talked a little bit about that before, but as we continue to see the trickle-down effect, what many people will call consumerization, we see these buyers that are sitting in the store wanting a product or a service from us. They want it to be easy with us. And if we can make it easy, again, they're more willing to continue to buy from us into the future. And with that, it's also important to note the experience we're delivering out here on the portal, because again, as customers come out here and they want to buy, maybe they're buying in volume, maybe they're buying a subset of the product we stock on a regular basis. Offering flexibility in how that order is placed, how quickly that order can be replaced, or that repeat order be generated, how many clicks does it take that repeat order to be generated, is very critical in the marketplace. So you see a lot of customers being frustrated with logging into these outdated portals that don't allow them to quickly work through a transaction or get access to accurate content or data, which is where, again, single stack commerce becomes more and more critical for your company as you grow. And last but not least, again, I think it just brings your organization to a cleaner place, right? As we look to evolve, we grow, we look at cadence of ERPs and how quickly they're evolving. Having a custom application in place for a web store doesn't allow us to quickly evolve our ERP and the technology back office, right? As we potentially have been years behind our sales, what do we do the following year when we want to move forward? Do we continue to reinvest in applications, or do we find something that's going to allow us to efficiently grow, not only back office, also online, up with those line customer demands, as we maybe choose to also expand into new channels. So more and more channels on the marketplace, we can utilize that technology to get into new channels, to get a bigger market presence, to expand as organizations, just in the same regions or geographic location, but just in other channels without having to bring in more and more systems and empower and pay people to manage those systems. And I think that's where Microsoft Dynamics as a whole really comes in. And we take a look at organizations that have run our application. These guys not necessarily in the craft brewing industry in particular, but a drink company, right? And as you take a look at their implementation, you know, in under a year had an ROI, a very strong ROI with their application in place. And I think what was critical, these guys was wanted to be able to control the changes in their organization. They wanted to further increase their sales. And as they looked to e-commerce for this, they wanted to really implement an application with little to no customizations in place. And that was really critical for them, was finding a solution that was out of the box that worked with their accounting system, but would also allow them to upgrade and grow without, you know, mass scope creep. And that's what I think a lot of people run into when it comes back down to working with a shopping cart. So the data and information here and now in their ERP was really critical to get this information out back to their customers. So as I talk about single stack e-commerce, I also like to talk a little bit about what you might have today and where that's going, right? A lot of people, as I mentioned earlier in my conversation, talked about a shopping cart, which is kind of portrayed here on the right-hand side. We find a shopping cart. We then look at business logic behind selling our product. We look at the complex pricing behind our product. Each price level might be for each store that's buying from us. And we need to rebuild or find a way to synchronize that data between our ERP and shopping cart, which, as you can see, can be rather complex and often result in a very time-consuming process for organizations upon upgrade, versus what we see over here on the left-hand side, which is really us taking data from our ERP, Sana taking that structure out and ensuring optimal customer experience, but also a simple migration path as we move forward as a business and grow and expand into new markets or into new channels. So single stack commerce, I think, offers you a lot of benefits looking at data back from your ERP, but more importantly, it allows you to grow and evolve as a company. So not only the evolution of the company and marketplace can really bring significant value to your organization, that in working with the company like Sana, we can take a look at web hosting, design, and other services to further fill in gaps of e-commerce that often come into play, right? Yes, I need something that works. I might want it to be both B2B and B2C. But also actually host it, right? We can guarantee uptime and ensure scalability as more and more concurrent users hitting the site. The data is more and more critical to our customers today. The elimination of human error becomes more important to our organization too, ensuring that they get what they want and they initially actually ordered from us. But also accuracy of the order entry process and financial reporting back office. And last but not least, I need to conclude these conversations by talking about, yes, we look to empower our customers inside of a portal, but it's also critical to empower them and put them in an application that can also bring their sales reps back. So in this case, we look at our customers having information, allowing them to service customers all from a web-based application. And Sana delivers an application just like that to empower customer service users and put them inside of an application that gives them access to data and information without having to get into their ERP, which for some companies can be very beneficial. We also wrap that into an offline application that is often used at trade shows. So reps, agents can capture orders or quotes from the floor without needing to have access to our ERP, right? Functioning in an offline mode. Something that can be permission-based, allow them to override price, and show out customer historical document information to customers while on site with a client, even though we might not have access to the internet. So as we kind of finalize and work through kind of the end of this here, I think it's important to understand where e-commerce is going and how it can overlay or touch craft brewing and empower your organization. And as I kind of mentioned early on, we look to empower organizations by accessing the data and information they already have today. They already are managing back office to master this digital transformation we hear in the marketplace and what's going on and grow, right? We want our customers to, again, find technology and applications that will allow us to move to the next level and expand globally. through our application, through the use of applications like Microsoft Dynamics. So we appreciate your participation, and if there's any questions or content you may be looking for from our organization, we're always happy and here to answer those questions. In particular, on myself, if you have questions, please reach out to us and let us know how we can help. We also encourage you to visit our website that I have on the screen here. We're giving away an Apple Watch this quarter again. You actually, if you go to this site, you'll actually be directed to a shopping cart experience, very similar to what our retail or wholesale customers would see inside of Sana. You browse through it, you find the Apple Watch, and you'll be registered to win. So please participate. You want to thank you again, and hope to hear from you soon. Thank you.
Thanks, Giuseppe. We did have a couple questions come through, so I'll just ask those for you right now. So what differentiates Sana from other e-commerce providers in the market?
I think our approach to the market is very important, right? I think that's a good question, and as I kind of mentioned early on, again, our goal is to help companies grow, and it's not just to grow by adding a shopping cart, it's to grow by taking advantage of the data, the information that you've already set up and managed. We're not here to sell you another silo of data and another management tool. We're here to optimize your business and performance by getting you online and getting you online quickly, right, through the use of technology and in the investment you've already really made inside of something like Microsoft Dynamics. So I think that's where our biggest differentiator is, on top of the fact that we roll in both retail and wholesale commerce to allow growth options for companies, but also the rep order entry functionality that I mentioned at the end too.
Great, thank you. And then I just have one more question, and if anyone has any more questions, feel free to type it in the question box on your control panel, but I'll ask this one next. What advice can you provide on steps that should be taken to prepare the ERP environment for opening a web store?
We have actually a few white papers on that on our website. There's actually quite a few steps. I mean, some of it is data integrity, right? When your goal as a business is to grow and scale, right? If our pricing isn't structured well inside of our ERP, if our descriptions are clean in our ERP, I think those would be some of the more commonly initial challenges we see our clients who implement face, is that you need to get your pricing cleaned up and you need to get your descriptions cleaned up, because inevitably we're taking that information right out to the site for your customers to view. And usually that isn't a challenge for organizations, but I think, again, some companies who have been on the ERP for a long period of time and those who are newer, you know, you see different stages of cleanliness around our data back office. I think it's always a good thing, but it is sometimes step one in an organization implementing an application like this, because it's so tightly integrated and driven off what's happening back office.
Great, thanks, Giuseppe. Looks like there's no other questions that came through, but if questions do come up later, please feel free to reach out to myself, Giuseppe, or our contact form on either of our websites. I will mention our websites, www.interdynebmi.com, and then Sana's website you saw earlier. If you'd like to learn about anything that was presented today, I'd like to sincerely thank Giuseppe and Sana for the great presentation, giving us an overview of their solution. And on behalf of everyone at Interdyne BMI, I'd like to thank you for your attendance and have a great rest of your day. Thanks, Giuseppe.